Hello friends, I am Nisha Sharma, Associate Professor, Department of English. The topic under discussion today is symbolism in a doll's house. Symbols are objects, characters, figures, or colors used to represent abstract ideas or concepts. Symbolism is one of the literary devices commonly used in drama. The symbol imparts the hidden meanings other than the apparent ones and also shows the emotional effects on the characters. Though A Doll's House is not only realistic but a naturalistic drama, Ibsen has made extensive use of symbolism in its setting, the use of imagery, and even in actions. The luxurious and harmonious looking scene at the beginning and the gradual degradation of that spick and span room of Nora is a symbolic setting. The images of macaroons, stove, Christmas tree, lighted lamp, black shawl, clothes, visiting cards, and most importantly, the door is among the most symbolic images in the play. Actions like Nora's dance and her hide and seek with the children are also symbolic in meaning. The image of the Christmas tree symbolizes life, and the images of stove, fire, candles also symbolize warmth and comfort. If the beginning of the play is full of such images of life, love, luxury, and harmony, the second and third acts bring in a number of images that have negative meanings. Towards the end of the play, we see the images of Nora's black shawl, Dr. Rank's visiting cards with black crosses on them, and the open door and the darkness outside, which we can easily imagine as Nora leaves the room. Nora wears a multicolored shawl during her rehearsal of the Tarantella dance, and that symbolizes exuberance of life and her multiple dreams and desires. But when Nora does her last dance at the ball upstairs, she wears a black shawl which she consciously links with death when she talks to Dr. Rank about death. We'll study these symbols one by one. And the first is the Christmas tree. The Christmas tree is delivered in Nora's flurry of excitement for Christmas. It symbolizes family happiness and unity, as well as the joy Nora takes in making her home pleasant and attractive. At the beginning of the play, the Christmas tree, a festive object meant to serve a decorative purpose, symbolizes Nora's position in her household as a plaything who is pleasing to look at and adds charm to the home. There are several parallels drawn between Nora and the Christmas tree in the play. Just as Nora instructs the maid that the children cannot see the tree until it has been decorated, she tells Tauber that no one can see her in her dress until the evening of the dance. Also, at the beginning of the second act, after Nora's psychological condition has begun to erode, the stage directions indicate that the Christmas tree is correspondingly disabled. The well maintained room and the occasion of Christmas symbolize happiness and merriment, as well as a harmonious married life of Nora. The fire in the room symbolizes warmth and life. The Christmas tree which Nora brings in is also symbolic of life and energy, as well as a symbol of spiritual strength. But the setting changes along with the change in Nora's mentality and life. By the beginning of the second act, the Christmas tree has been stripped and disabled, and its candles are also burned to their sockets. The broken and barren tree symbolizes the destruction of the life force, the happiness, and spirit of Nora's mind. The burning out of the candle also suggests a parallel decrease in the light and energy in the mind of Nora. At the beginning of the third act, we see the table brought to the middle of the room. This means that the playroom of Nora and Hammer has changed into a room for some serious dialogue across the table. In English, the idiom the table was turned on someone also means the reverting of situation. The table is indeed turned on Hammer as he changes from a master to a partner, a commander to a pathetic fellow. In the third act, the door of the hall is also open, and this also somehow symbolizes Nora's exit in retrospect when we look back from the end. The Christmas tree can be seen as being directly symbol of Nora. You may ask how? First of all, the tree seems to mimic Nora's psychological state. At the beginning of Act 2, stage direction tells us the Christmas tree is stripped of its ornaments with burned down candle ends on its disabled branches 2.1. But what does that have to do with Nora? Stage direction go on to say that Nora is alone in the room, walking about uneasily. Basically, Nora is a mess, and so is the tree. She has gotten the bad news from Krogstad, and as a result, her mind is just as disheveled as the tree. You could also interpret the tree's state as symbolic of Nora's disintegrating web of lies. The pretty decorations, which Nora used to cover up her deceit, are falling away. Soon the bare, ugly truth will emerge. And lastly, Nora's function in the household is pretty much the same as the tree. She is merely decorative, ornamental, if you will. She dresses up the tree just as Torvald dresses up her for the sandbox party. It's interesting that she tells the maid not to tell the children to see the tree until it's decorated. This is reminiscent of what she when she tells Torvald that she can't be seen in her costume until the party. It seems that Ibsen built in many parallels between Nora and her tree. Next symbol is macaroons. Torvald has banned Nora from eating macaroons. Although Nora claims that she never disobeys Torvald, this is proved false in the very opening of the play when Nora eats macaroons while she was alone. Like the setting, the props in the scenes are also symbolically significant. The macaroons that Nora eats and Hammer prohibits her from eating stand for her innocence, childishness, and happy go lucky nature, or rather appearance. Nora's eating of macaroons justifies that she possesses a childish nature. The macaroon also stands for a revolt against Hammer's authority that he wishes her not to eat it. At the end of Act 2, Nora, after being failure to convince Hammer for Krogstad's cause, asks her maid to put plenty, ample, a lot, sufficient of macaroons on the dinner plate. Here, the symbol macaroon shows her disturbed mental state. The way Hammer prohibits sweets also suggests that he is treating her like a child. It is, in fact, that Nora behaves like a child because Hammer would like her to do so, and that Nora will do what he wants because she has the illusion of his love. Next symbol is the tarantella. There are also symbolic actions in the play. Nora's tarantella dance, which she performs in a mood of frenzy, passionately, symbolizes her dance of life and death. Indeed, she tells Hammer that her life depends on it. This and such are the tricks that she has been performing in front of Hammer to please him and gain his love or other fun. The tarantella is an Italian folk dance based on the frenzied movements victims make to draw out the poison after being bitten by a spider. Ibsen chose Nora to dance the tarantella to align the symbol in the play with the myth already associated with the dance. It also symbolizes the pretense Torvald and Nora have set in the play as the staple of their relationship. He instructs and she performs. He criticizes and she dances faster to please, but that doesn't please him either. When Nora rehearses the tarantella, She dances with wild abandon. She is trying to please, but she is also frantic to remove the poison of corruption Torvald has suggested she possesses when he refers to Crockstead's lack of character. Thus, this dance, originally performed by a person who had been bitten by the tarantula, a poisonous spider in Italy, has here become a kind of frantic response to the many injuries in the mind of Nora. One is the bite of Crockstead, a kind of snake, and the other is the injury of Hammer's oppression in the name of love. Like the macaroons, the tarantella symbolizes a side of Nora that she cannot normally show. It is a fiery, passionate dance that allows Nora to drop the facade of the perfect, mild mannered Victorian wife. Next is the doll's house. There are a few mentions of doll's house early in the play. For example, when Nora shows Torvald that the dolls she bought for her daughter and says that the fact they are cheap. Nora has been treating her, Nora was treated as a doll by her father and by her husband, and she in turn treats her children as doll. That's why it's not a real home, it's like a doll's house. So, doll's house is a symbol. Christmas and New Year is another symbol. The play is set during the holidays. Yes, it's Christmas time for the Hammers, and the New Year is swiftly approaching. Chances are that this isn't random. Christmas and New Year are both associated with rebirth and renewal. Several of the characters go through a kind of rebirth over the course of the play. Both Nora and Torvald have a spiritual awakening, which could be seen as a rebirth. Nora's trials and tribulations wake her up to the pitiful state of her marriage. When the wonderful thing fails to happen, she realizes she will never be a fully realized person until she severs herself from her husband. When she slams the door behind her, she is in a way reborn. Nora is not alone in her spiritual awakening. However, Torvald's last line, the most wonderful thing of all, that is Act 3, seems to indicate that Nora's words haven't fallen on deaf ears. Torvald, like his wife, has realized the complete inadequacy of his existence by the end of the play. Both Hammers have been reborn. Crockstead and Christine are reborn as well. When these two shipwrecked people join forces, Act 3, they each get a fresh start in life. Both of them view their renewed love affair as a chance for salvation. Crockstead hopes that it will help increase his standing with the community and that Christine's influence will make him a better person. Christine is overjoyed that she will have someone to care for. She once again has purpose in her life. Yes, it seems that in a doll's house, it is the season for rebirth. The action of the play is set at Christmas time, and Nora and Torvald both look forward to New Year as the start of a new, happier phase in their lives. In the new year, Torvald will start his new job, and he anticipates with excitement the extra money and admiration the job will bring him. Nora also looks forward to Torvald's new job because she will finally be able to repay her secret debt to Crockster. By the end of the play, however, the nature of the new start that New Year represents for Torvald and Nora has changed dramatically. They both must become new people and face radically changed way of living. Hence, the new year comes to mark the beginning of a truly new and different period in both their lives and their personalities. Next symbol is stove. The stove symbolizes Nora's emotional and physical warmth. When Rockstead comes to have a talk with Nora, she keeps the door half open. She goes across the room and touches the stove. Actually, there is no cause of doing so. Her action of making up the fire is the remedy of escaping from her fear of Croxted's visit and the discomfort of her mind. She wants to keep the secrecy of Lon from Hammer's knowledge. Likewise, when Dr. Rank declares his love to her, she walks over the stove. Here too the stove symbolizes her mental disturbance caused by Dr. Rank's unexpected declaration of love to her, which she would not like. Next is slamming the door. Most important of the symbolic action in this play is Nora's final action of shutting Hammer behind in his house and going out of it. Nora slamming the door shut behind her and her exit into the dark outside symbolizes the new woman's leaving behind of the male-made homes and society, male-made traditions and laws, and male-made values and mentalities like that of Hammer. That action also symbolically represents the modern, or we can say late 19th century European women's revolutionary step of seeking challenge, identity, and dignity at the cost of some risk. Indeed, a good reader must take that action of leaving a home only in the symbolic sense as an act of seeking identity and not as a simple act of divorce which any stupid woman can do and any stupid dramatist can show. Next symbol is money. Money symbolizes men's control over women who are not allowed equal access to it. The play begins with Nora coquettishly asking Torvald for money and ends with her refusing to take any belongings from his house except those she owned before they met. She also rejects his offer to help her financially as she leaves. Christine, in direct contrast to Nora, has means to make money, which gives her the power to make her own choices. Next symbol is birds. When Nora is happy in the way Torvald likes and expects, he calls her his skylar or songbird. When she is frightened, she is his dove. When he is unhappy, Torvald calls Nora, referring to her in terms of birds, such as a songbird must have a clean beak. Birds represent Torvald's view of Nora as a creature meant to entertain and delight him, whom he must protect. They also represent Nora's flight to freedom, as she is like a bird in a cage, singing for her keep in the beginning of the play, but escaping by the end. And the last but not the least is the hide and seek game. In the middle of Act 1, Nora and her children play a game of hide and seek. Many people could take this to symbolize Nora's occasional playfulness and the secret that she is hiding from her husband. As soon as Nora realizes that she can no longer hide her secret, she refuses to play hide and seek with the children. This symbolizes that she knows she no longer can hide anything. Thus, these are the symbols which have been used by Ibsen in his plays. Thank you.